My name's Richie, and I guess there's been some discussions around around Timmins about getting bands started and dealing with the music industry um, as a whole. There'll be people referred to back in the times when we had concerts and things were happening, and that was falls within a structure. And this is the thing here where it's important now. It I'm going to try to be as objective as possible when I talk about this, okay? Because what's going on right now in Timmins, it's virtually impossible to have a concert. And there's a lot of reasons for that. And the main reason for that is because we've never had any of that industry develop locally. In back in the when we talk about the concerts that used to happen when they're through Donald K. Donald or these other promoters back then was a business was had a spiked back in those times. A lot of those events were like circuses essentially, very much the same thing as like Beauce Carnival. It was just basically a group of people that would go, from town to town and would make deals and arrangements with the local organizations and their facilities and have these events and that's entirely a for-profit business, and really it's the only way it works. And one of the issues we have here is not really understanding the difference between a nonprofit event and a professional event or a for-profit event, which is really there is a it's not a distinction, because nonprofits, companies, corporations, or whatever you call designate yourself, have access to this stuff. And why they don't use it is it's not it has nothing to do with the business itself. If you're let's just take the Canadian Cancer Society, not referring to anybody locally, and they want to do an event or drive or whatever it is, some kind of a thing, and they want to hire a well-known band, and you know they can do that, provided they go along with their terms and they use the channels that specifically for that. And the only channel available is through an agency, agents. Now, and that's another thing. So, well, I'm going to write this down as far as like points that are, well, debatable or for discussion, but things that have to overcome before you could even get into thinking about booking, or getting into concerts. There's these are the things that have to be dealt with first. Okay, so the nonprofit, um, let's just call it private, because I think private business, I guess, uh, do not need to be are not mutually are not exclusive. Now, there is one point that comes up that where maybe this idea took root, is that high-end artists, like anybody with a big name that is an attraction, uh, they have this concept called top billing, which means that their name is to come before anything else of the event, meaning above any kind of um, sponsorship or cause or anything, any other band. So a headliner that asks for or makes top billing part of their requirement have achieved that ability through selling out and just becoming a star. Okay, and what they do not allow, and there's many reasons for this, is for a local organization or sponsorships or anything like that to be on the poster or near their name or above their name um, without being specifically negotiated. All right. So that's only for top end stuff. That does not apply for anything that would come through Northern Ontario unless you're dealing with a major act like, well, Elton John, for instance, would not allow a local, well, he maybe he would, but you would have to discuss it with him, but you certainly couldn't put your cause or your business or anything like that on the same poster as Elton John without him or his people specifically, because they have publicists that deal with stuff like that, aware. So that is when the only time it becomes an issue. So so basically top billing doesn't exist unless, you know, it's made clear, unless it's negotiated, or unless it's just a big star, you know, as part of the negotiating. Okay. So we have okay, so you can discuss that, because I know there seems to be a difference between the two. Whenever you talk to anybody with the city or any organization, there's this thing that goes on between the difference between a nonprofit and private, and that the two need to be separated, which is completely not the case. Okay, it's not the case. There's nothing stopping a nonprofit from hiring a band through an agency, and if the agency offers them whatever it is that they want, um, the artists themselves are aware of who and what it is and have already agreed to do that. So that's what's important. Okay. Now,